we have an internal dialogue around this, don't we? Yeah, everybody has an internal dialogue. Some people's is more interesting than others. Some people's, I think, oh, I'm so happy I can't hear their internal dialogue. And then often I'm very happy other people can't hear mine. Yes, you know what I'm talking about, right? So how does this relate to our actual life? We're talking about analysis, analyzing the conditions in our lives and determining which ones we want to change and where we want to grow. Let's say we're looking at the area of health. Maybe we're perfectly healthy and we just decide we're going to live forever and stay healthy forever. Maybe we are suffering from the appearance of so-called disease. Or maybe we're kind of halfway there, we want to lose a little weight or have more energy or more stamina, something. So we look at the area of health. So carnal intellect would say, well, you're overweight, or you're too old, or you're lazy, or things like that. Or you need to eat something different, or stop smoking, things that exist at the level of effect. But if we tap into our inner dialogue from the place of our spiritual intellect and look at it from truth, it changes our statement. We say, I am the health of spirit expressing, and I now open to exuding through every pore, every cell, every atom of my being, the truth of who I am. See the difference? Has nothing to do with conditions. What about finances? That pushes buttons for a lot of people. You could be independently, opulently wealthy, or feel that you're poor, or anything in between. But if in your analysis you are observing the area of finances, it no longer works to say, there's not enough money in my bank account, I don't earn enough at my job. What we have to say from our spiritual intellect, from our place of truth is, I live in a vastly abundant universe. And all the good is available to me and is mine by divine birthright. I now open to experiencing it in my life, right here, right now. See how that shifts everything? Okay, so once we look at these areas and decide which ones we want to grow in, we need to ask ourselves why. Beyond the obvious, I want to be healthy so I can feel better and play with my grandchildren and go on trips with my family, or I want a different job so I can earn more money. Well, no, because then the list goes on and on. Well, why do you need to earn more money? Because I want more things. Well, why do you want more things? Those questions never get fully answered, and they're not the right questions anyway. We have to come at it when we're asking why. There's only one answer. We have to come at it from truth with a capital T. The answer to any question or any area in our lives, why? Why do I want this? Because it is our nature to express spirit at the highest level possible. It doesn't matter whether that is unfolding as our health, our wealth, our relationships, our creative self-expression, any area of our lives. It is about fully expressing our divine right, our divine essence in every area. So why? Because I'm God. Because I am spirit and expression. That's why. Okay. So remember, the decisions we make us. And as we look at these areas, as we're analyzing, allow that to sink in and create itself in form by way of law. So once we've determined what and why, we can go on to the how. How do I do this? Which brings us to level 4, which is education. How many of you have been in classes for years and years and years and years and years? And how many of you are newish? Okay. Celeste, you're not newish. Of course, there's no age in the mind of God, so what do I know? Okay. Students of truth tend to be lifelong learners, don't we? Yeah. We are all spiritual scholars at our own level in our own way. And we love to know and know and know and know more. And every time we know something, we want to know something more about it. And then we want to apply it in our lives, don't we? And see how that works, which is wisdom by definition. Yes, wisdom is applied knowledge. But there's something deeper than that idea, something that transcends even knowledge and wisdom, and that is understanding. I love Emma Curtis Hopkins' treatment of the word understanding, her notion of what understanding is. In Class Lessons of 1888, she writes, "Seeds will not spring up to perfect fruitage till the arid soil has been enriched and irrigated and suited to their growth. So thoughts will not be healing till the mind that sends them forth is trained to strength and certainty." Thoughts will not be healing until they're trained with strength and certainty. That's what we're talking about. Knowledge can lead to understanding, but knowledge in itself is not understanding. I like to think of it as a precursor to understanding. And knowledge on its own is very powerful. And we love garnering knowledge, don't we? It's so interesting. This teaching is infinitely interesting. But we want to go all the way to understanding with it. Think about the opposite of understanding, which is what? Lack of understanding. And no matter how long any of us has been in this teaching, we can easily look back on a time when we did suffer under lack of understanding, yes? And how was life then? Not as good as it is now, right? Okay. We might even go so far as to say that lack of understanding is the root of all our so-called problems. Because once we understand the divine and law and how all this works, we cannot un-understand it. Now we know it. Whether we use it or not is up to us. So understanding the importance of it cannot be underscored enough. In our quest for knowledge and wisdom and understanding, we have to stay on track. We have to consciously stay on track. Naturally, we seek answers, and that's healthy. It's really good to have that kind of curiosity. But how many of you have ever caught yourself caught up in the search for the answer and never getting to the understanding? Because you're in the seeking. You're perpetually in the seeking. I catch myself sometimes and I think, okay, now wait a minute. It's time to stop and take a breath and align myself and open up to understanding what this principle is, what this knowledge means, how it serves me, how wisely I can use it. So, raise your hand again if you're a perpetual student of metaphysics. Yeah. Okay. And if you're not, think about it. Think about taking classes. But no matter what, if we're talking about education as a level of healing our thought, what does it mean to you individually to learn and become wise and understand? What does it mean? It's different for all of us, but each of us is on this track. And once we achieve understanding, what do we do with it? Because there's always more, isn't there? Our teaching doesn't lend itself to, getting to a landing place and hanging out for a while. There's always the next thing. There's a wonderful story about a master and student who undertake a rigorous climb to the top of a mountain. And when they finally reach the peak, the student says, "Wonderful, hooray, I've completed my climb." To which the master replies, "Oh no, my child, the climb begins here." And that's true for us. The climb does not end when we reach the mountaintop. That's where it starts. The climb does not begin when down here at the beginning of the ascent. The climb begins when we are at the summit. So here we are, we're up here at the summit. And this is where we start. We're standing here with our knowledge and our understanding, and we need to put it to work now. Which brings us to level 5, which is praxis, Praxis. Those of you who are my students probably get tired of hearing me use the word praxis, but it's so perfect. It's a term that comes from postmodern theory, and it only means theory in practice. When you're doing what you believe, what you've learned, what you know, that's praxis. It's a wonderful word. Use it. People will think you're really smarter than you actually are. It works for me a lot. How do we do praxis? Treatment is a wonderful way to do praxis. Anything you do, meditation, chanting, God forbid firewalking. We're having this dialogue in the field about should practitioners do firewalking at practitioner seminars. Don't take me there. All practice is good if it works for you. In general terms, I like to adhere to, of course, Emma Curtis Hopkins' approach, which is I think the truth, I speak the truth, I write the truth, and I live the truth. So thinking, that one's pretty much self-explanatory. We train our thought along a definite premise, and we have to be willing to exact the highest standards from ourselves when it comes to our thought. If we falter, we have to deliberately put ourselves back on track. It's not like when we mess up on our diet. Oh, I ate one Oreo. I might as well have the whole package.